Welcome back, Venturers. It's time for another discussion about VS. I am MR, and together with Taurus, we bring a new edition of Book Club. Geminism went so well last time, so we decided to gamble on a synchronized reading once again. So we bring today to the Book Club a new-ish title by Purple Software, Criminal Border. So, Taurus, what did we commit to, and how close to the border of criminality are we?
Pretty darn close, as it turns out. But yes, MR and I are once again going down the path of a book club, where we are going to both read a visual novel, and along the way, we'll share our ongoing thoughts in sequential VNture podcast episodes, discussing what we think about Criminal Border in this case. It's episodic, so that provides some awesome stopping points, and in this episode, we both finished First Offence, the first of 4 titles out of Criminal Border. But yes, what did we think about it? Well, first off, Criminal Border is the story of our main character, Itsuki. He is a very normal high school otaku dweeb. He doesn't really have any friends, nor much of a life, nor much joy in his life. In fact, his main hobby is just messing around on his computer, making some shitty AMVs. One day, he comes back to see his creation, another crappy AMV video, but somehow, this one operates as some kind of digital drug. It turns out, anyone who views this creation of his suddenly becomes incredibly aroused, with just uncontrollable emotions that cause them to do some very naughty things. And this lasts for a few minutes, and it seems to be effective just by viewing it with no real long-term health dangers, or not much of a memory for what happened and such. So this makes for an extremely potent drug, but also an extremely potent money-making scheme. With the help of his childhood friend Rin, our main character becomes engrossed into a very different criminal underworld than he's ever used to, and who knows how he's going to survive along the way. So first things first, one of the cool things about Criminal Border is what a unique premise that is. Like, that's not something you see any day, do you, Amar?
Yeah, I have to commend them. The hook itself in this title has got me immediately. Like, okay, that's an interesting approach of stumbling by pure coincidence into something that has a supernatural, super powerful, we don't know how it works, aptly named digital drug that has a very bizarre effect on people. We don't know what makes it so. It is something that makes people lose control. Like, that's an interesting hook. You immediately start thinking, or at least that has that effect on me, and I immediately started thinking, wait a moment. The hook is there. I definitely liked it. Yeah, the possibilities are there.
Yeah. From my perspective, I really like how it ties in the, 18 plus material because as far as visual novels go, yes, visual novels have a long and storied history involving this kind of 18 plus content in all of their stories. And sometimes the developers can weave these erotic scenes into the story effectively, but there are plenty of times that, in my opinion, they don't, and they end up feeling very jarring because they stick out from the story like a sore thumb. Criminal Border has one of those plots that just inherently involves the ero part of an eroge. It's something that doesn't feel tacked on. I mean, this is something that truly only a visual novel could accomplish because of its history and because of how it formats its story and how much it can embrace all of the ero involved, because that's literally what it's about. Our main
You
character
know
has
what?
this digital drug all about Arrow. Mm-hmm.
You know what? That's a fair point to make. To me, I feel like it's very convenient. Not necessarily I would upload them and give them a new Nobel Prize of solving, weaving the plot and Arrow together. I don't know. It's not as extravagant, but I give them points for convenience sake. Okay, fine, they had a topic close enough, tied together with the Arrow that now you can introduce age scenes galore, and some of which even can be drawn in chibi style, which was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, that is true. There are some chibi, those super deformed CGs that gave some great comedy. I love how they handled it. But yeah, although, okay, I get it. It's kind of a Nukige tier premise. Oh, it's just, I show people this video and now, sex galore. But it's a serious story. They're approaching it very much with the dangers of the criminal underworld and the characters involved, as we show just how ruthless a lot of it can be. So, I mean, that's what I mean. It's that they're taking something that involves the sex and involves all the Arrow, but we're still getting a great story out of it. It's like you said yourself, it's an incredible premise that hooked you into it.
Yeah, exactly. The premise is cool. The convenience factor is just something I didn't give it that much thought. But you currently point out that it's a better woven story than an excuse of brother, I got stuck in a dishwasher kind of deal, right? This is way better effectively when it comes to tying one with the other.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But on that note, as the story develops, I do have to share one criticism of Criminal Border that really stuck out like a sore thumb to me the whole time, in that the writing in this isn't very good. I'm not sure if it's the fault of the original Japanese script, or if it's just something that happened with the English translation, but either way, it's kind of a struggle to get through reading this. The sentence structure themselves are all full of very simple sentences of like the subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object the whole time, and we just get a bunch of short, direct, kind of barren sentences the entire way through. There's not much flavor, there's not much sauce to this script. And I think that's a big reason dragging it down, because that sort of thing just kind of batters at your skull after a while.
True, and honestly, I struggle to think why this title specifically, despite having a great hook at the beginning, started to bore me multiple times. I'm like, And now that you point that out, I feel like there were multiple instances in which the protagonist gets a response from a character, and then you hear his inner thoughts. It's literally, he's commenting on exactly what I just read. I'm like, can we stop repeating everything? I'm like, can you get to the point? Can you move on?
Yeah, our protagonist is, a super shut-in. He's very much a dweeb, like I mentioned. And unfortunately, that means he's got the Solid Snake approach to conversations, where he just goes, is that so? Or, a digital drug? It's just, you said you're part of a criminal organization? He's either repeating a keyword, or he's just stammering out nothing much at all. And as a main character, that makes it really hard to follow him. Like, several of the more intriguing scenes in the beginning of this title, it involves other people talking to each other. Like Hina and her brother. Or, whenever Kotoko's around. It's like, those tend to be the more interesting parts when it doesn't involve our main character. It's like, oh man, that's a little lame.
Well, you know what? The moment you just said it, I'm like, yeah, those were engaging scenes. And before you finish your sentence, I'm like, wait, you're correct. He didn't speak about this. Maybe that's made it so enticing.
The other problem that starts, rearing its head in First Offense is that there actually isn't much conflict or danger to this title. You would think there is. Like, the whole premise is that our main character has a very interesting weapon on his hands that he's trying to use through less than legal means to make a whole lot of money. And that involves getting involved with a whole lot of criminals when this guy is not prepared for this at all. And yet, without getting too much into the spoilers of the plot, we don't really feel much of that danger throughout First Offense. There's a few spots of it, yeah, but to be honest, a lot of the story is instead about the practicality. It's about them trying to figure out how they can best use this to make money, how they can distribute it, all the safeguards against, preventing this from getting into anyone else's hands. It's a lot of planning and business aspects. That can be interesting on its own. But there isn't much of an obstacle to it. There's just all the barriers of normally them trying to grow their business. It's like all the interest of a brainstorming session.
Yeah, that's true. There is no direct confrontation of any kind. In a way, honestly, few dialogues felt super weird in how they approached this, because I feel like in many conversations they keep repeating, "Oh, the biggest benefit of this digital drug is how legal it is." I'm like, okay, you keep treating it like it's the most legal thing around, but the moment the word spreads around to people who can't do something about it, it won't stay legal for long.
Yes, strictly speaking, it's not illegal because, it's not an abusable substance, a physical substance at least, and from what they know at the beginning, there don't seem to be any long-term health consequences or anything. It's still a gray area though, and that's why they're having to go through some questionable channels through this criminal underworld to get this going. But yeah, like you said, it's a weird spot to be in.
True. Yeah. My point was more akin to they keep treating it like, oh yeah, it's legal, so we can do whatever and we can plan in any way, shape, or form. But rarely do they consider how quickly can that go really, really badly, given the fact that they don't really know what they are dealing with.
To be fair,
they kind of treat it like, yeah, it's safe, it's legal. It's like, oh, what's the worst that can happen, huh?
Right. It's still the first episode. This is just the premise, the introduction stuff. And so I know that I'm kind of criticizing the story as a whole right now, but I'm still open to the idea that this could improve with future releases. So I don't want to write off Criminal Border so far. It's just
oh no.
Yeah, this just wasn't as the impactful introduction as I was hoping,
That's true. Especially kind of jarring given the fact how Hook just completely got me, and then it kind of petered out when it comes to my interest slowly for various reasons. Mm-hmm. And honestly, around this point, because we are slowly inching away closer and closer to spoiler, I want to finally talk about spoilers. I want to give, if you have final thoughts in the spoilers free section now. Maybe?
Yeah. Oh, just for anyone who might dip now, because this will get into spoilers, I'm still looking forward to Criminal Border. I think we're seeing some interesting stuff coming with the main character, and I think, the premise and the world building are still outstanding. I'm hoping that the execution, just the writing and the setup conflicts involved, I hope those can rise to the occasion. But yeah, so far, I'm still looking forward to Criminal Border. I still think it's pretty good. It's got a lot of promise.
I agree, especially on the promise and, I guess, potential of that story to develop. I still feel there's a lot there, honestly, and I braced myself picking this up. When it comes to episodic storytelling, I feel like this is something that is hit or miss for me myself, and I will keep comparing that to 999 that I read for because that episodic that was perfect execution. Despite that, title really had the weakest story in volume 1, which is this being the first offense entry. And with all that said, now I want to transition into the spoiler full section of this video.
Yeah,
So
spoilers.
Exactly. I want to give a final warning and repeat myself a few times so people who are listening to the podcast somewhere else outside now can pause if they don't want to listen further in. So with that being said, this is the final spoiler warning. Now we go.
Yeah. Do you have something you want to mention first, MR?
I feel like the first thing, and this is where my comparison to 9 comes from, I really immediately from the start when the hook was introduced, the first scenes, this is what on my head, and I looked forward to this moment when finally protagonist started to experiment with the limits and challenging his own preconceived notions about this digital drug. The whole VN, I waited for this one, start experimenting, because given the fact you already assumed how it works and not other kind of side effects or maybe effects it has on other people, start testing that. And that's probably my favorite part of 999. And in that title, they also had a concept that guided the story and push it forward. And despite thinking how it worked, they kind of tested the limits and it turned out to be bigger than they initially thought. And that's exactly since first scene I was thinking, okay, fine, I know you scenario writers, I see you there, you're trying to outmaneuver me and you do some funny sleight of hand, making me comfortable thinking this is the only application of that drug. I'm on to you. This is misdirection. There's surely more to that drug.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. It's like, come on, bro. Are you going to like try to make more or learn more about this? But I mean, it's made pretty clear this guy's kind of a loser. He just stumbled onto this thing. It's not like he was trying to crack anything in the first place, and he doesn't really have that kind of mindset. Right now, I'm currently watching anime series Code Geass. And this is my first time, and it's very funny because that guy also comes across some new crazy superpower, and one of the first things he does when he gets the moment is to start testing the limits of it and figuring out all he can about this power. And it was really funny that I'm doing that in parallel with Criminal Border, with our guy Itsuki, who's got this superpower, and he doesn't really do anything to understand it. That's pretty funny.
Holy crap. I can't. On one hand, you have a very interesting intrigue in addition to having a superpower and someone intelligent enough that immediately starts testing. And on the other hand, you have a normal high school boy that gets a hold of some sort of weird power and assumes like, oh, it's for junking off. Like, okay, great, cool, amazing.
Yeah. But that's another aspect I wanted to talk about with our main character, Itsuki. I mentioned before, we have the conflict, the external conflict, where it's about them trying to make money against the dangers of the, Yakuza or other gang mafia members. But there's another, I guess you could say the other half of this story is about Itsuki trying to grow as a person. He doesn't want to be that loser anymore. He wants to, grow as a person, expand his horizons, and even by the end, he's like, I want to be the king of the underworld, because that's the path laid out to him. Unfortunately, this storyline, I guess you could say this conflict, this character growth, is also kind of boring, because there aren't really any obstacles against him. He's having like a really smooth experience where he's got this girl, Hina, who seems to really like him, who is just guiding him through every way, and he's got, some other peeps involved who are looking out for him in their own ways, and none of this danger happens. He's still just smoothly improving, smoothly just growing, getting better at conversations, just getting the haircut and changing his look. I'm happy for him, and that whole self-growth aspect of the main character, that's also a really interesting aspect, but like there's no interest to it. I don't feel like there's any stakes involved, or nor any fear that, oh, he's gonna regress, or oh, there's gonna be some bad things happening. And that's the kind of stuff you need to provide if you're gonna do any sort of character journey. It can't be a walk in the park. It's gotta have obstacles, roadblocks, difficulties.
Listen, Taras, can I bring to your attention the irony, the sheer irony of how the first few scenes in school start with protagonist thinking to himself, it would be too convenient if there was secretly a gorgeous girl in love with me, and my life would be so convenient as if everything falls into place. Man, but such a thing doesn't happen in real life, it's just fantasy. The irony of that statement, how exactly, I would want to say, somewhat easily that's the trajectory he gets when it comes to exactly that, getting the girl, so to speak. I know there was one quite dramatical moment in which he got punked and he got jumped by some punks. Okay, fair enough. But even that was solved by external force rather than himself, which makes sense given the story. Oh, man.
Yeah. Like, I don't really mind that, there was, in that fight, Meryl had to come to save the day. Because this is the beginning. It's still the original. The fact that he even got punched in the stomach a few times, and his whole world is spinning, and his mind is racing, and he's still, trying to be a man for Hina, and to stand up against these bullies. Yep. The fact that he tried, that's a huge first step. And, that's the one scene I like the most in this whole VN, is him getting any sort of drama involved with the plot here. But as for the rest of Criminal Border, it's, if anything, that, like you mentioned, that part where Hina says that, oh yeah, I saw you a while ago, and you were nice to me, and I fell in love with you there. It's like, oh,
you know what's funny?
Man.
It wasn't necessarily that he was nice to her because he gave her a salt shaker and no one ever in her life gave her a salt shaker across the table. That was not the point. The point was, in her name, he was angry without speaking because they both mouthed her. So it was the most passive, be nice to me, non-committal approach ever, which is super, ultra, mega convenient that she also witnessed that moment. Holy hell.
Yeah. Until then, I was pretty interested in Hina because it's hard to say how much of her is genuine. There's a lot of concern. It's like, hey, there's this super bright, cheery, happy girl who's like, oh, I'd love to get to know you, Mr. Owner of this incredible digital drug. And it's like, okay, well, you wonder about her history, how much she's hiding, what her real kind of character is. That's like, there was a lot of intrigue in that. I'm not saying she had to reveal herself to be, a total villain, a bitch only looking out for herself. I'm not saying that needed to happen, but there was the intrigue.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't wish this character to be ultra evil or anything like that, but that uncertainty was definitely in my mind all the time. Are you really that nice, or are you just using him? And in a way, that reveal, and how the hell convenient that reveal was, kind of cheapened that dynamic.
Yeah. I'm a little bit glad that we got something out of it, because, all throughout the story, Itsuki is improving, he is shaping up, we are seeing that character growth. And we do get a lot of sweet scenes involving Hina. We got to see her backstory. We really got to see another side of her when she was super pissed at Iba, I think her name was. When she was trying to dump all of the consequences and run. That was a really intense part of Criminal Border. And I'm really glad that we got to see that of Hina.
I absolutely agree. There were so many different sides to someone who got introduced as a super ultra cheery girl that is nice to everybody, which gives them incorrect signals to approach. Okay, that was her introduction. Later down, we see her side of dealing with delinquents, and then her bad side when you really get her angry. Like, holy hell, there were so many sides to that character. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It would pair so well with the uncertainty where she lands when it comes to trust. Should you openly trust her or not? And in a way, we got a very cheap answer. Kind of made it very trivial. Yeah, you can easily trust.
Yeah.
Although, with all that said, when it comes to Hina, one of my favorite characters, it has to be Tatsuya. Holy hell. I loved how they introduced a character that is a rough older brother, which by the way, was very principled, because the moment he heard protagonist's involvement with his sister, he immediately to the action, stands up and is imposing, let's say it like that. But later down the line, when protagonist proves himself in the scenes that you said you liked, and honestly, truth be told, I actually liked it a lot, even how conveniently it ended, the resolution, right? I like that really well, because he shown that he, regardless of his ability, he will stand up to protect him. And that earned Hina's trust, and by proxy, Tatsuya's. And he came around from distrusting the guy to really trusting, because he earned his, I guess, affection points in some way.
Yeah.
Man, that's so cool. That's exactly.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a straightforward character. You know, the first time you meet him, he just seems like the bad boy older brother who's, gonna be squared off rival against our main character. It doesn't seem like there's much to him. He's just the gang leader kind of guy who'll punch you out if you give him a reason. But then as the story develops, they get closer. We get that fight where he stands up for Hina and thus earns his respect, and they get a closer relationship, and they open up. They really have a pretty solid friendship by the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. I was flabbergasted for someone who started by being just somewhat of a side quest character that stands on the side, got elevated. Like, yeah, he really got solid friendship with the protagonist, and the more you know with his involvement with Yakuza and why he does what he does with the biker gang, damn, that actually is pretty deep for a character that at the first glance seemed like, we'll forget about him, it's a side character.
Yeah.
No, it's actually properly done.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I appreciate the conversation he had with main character, because up until this point, that criticism that you said, that repetition, the way it's written is so weird and not good, like you said. But the way Tatsuya talks with him is so human. Like, yes, protagonist asks Tatsuya directly, what should I change about myself to have a better image? And he genuinely gives him advice, also prefacing that, but if you don't want it, I get it. Just be you. Like, fuck, what? Is that allowed? Normal conversations like that?
Yeah, with the writing being as stiff as it is, it's actually not too bad for the characters, because a lot of them talk like that. Like, you have Rin, who is all business and to the point.
Yeah, true.
You've got Tatsuya, who's pretty gruff, even on the best of days. Even Kotoko, she talks very formal and a little bit distant. But the biggest victim is Hina. Hina is supposed to be like this charming, outgoing, energetic girl, and the dialogue is not communicating that at all. She does not have any lines where she's showing off her charm. Basically everything that happens with her is just conveyed through story beats and just part of the plot, instead of her, I mean, even her voice actor is still doing a good job, don't get me wrong. Her voice, if I had to if I had to read Criminal Border unvoiced, it's like, oh, I would miss out on that performance. That would be tragedy.
True.
But still, the writing is definitely hurting Hina a lot. She's a poor victim in this. Also, I'm a little bit worried when you talked about, Tatsuya being sidelined as that kind of guy who we just ignore as we go through the plot. I'm getting real worried that Hina is gonna get sidelined through the rest of the Criminal Border. She's got that, well, that first heroine, the one that gives him a reason to go on, and she's gonna get ignored for the newer, shinier heroines. Oh no.
Man, there's one line in this game when Tatsuya confronts the protagonist saying, asking him how would he feel if Hina would be with another guy, and he responds, I would be angry. And then she says, but I wouldn't mind if the protagonist would be with someone else. I'm like, oh my god, don't... You opened the floodgates for the volume 2, 3, and 4 immediately with that one sentence.
That's the blatant excuse to start allowing him to just go fool around. It's like, that might have well has just been a big asterisk of like, oh, you will see more H scenes in Criminal Border 2, 3, and 4. It's like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't do this to Hina, no.
Exactly. I'm like, oh my god, really? Yeah.
But aside from Tatsuya, MR, who is best girl?
Honestly, I don't know. Why the hell do you keep asking me this question for everything at the end?
It's an important question. It's one that has to come from your heart.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, while you're thinking about it, I'll go first. I'll say it's Hina. I know she got the focus of first offense, and so maybe that's a little lopsided in her favor, but I think it's really sad what happened to her in her story. How she got dealt an unfair hand in life, and yet despite that, she's still, very keen and smart enough to see that living a normal life of, working a part-time job as only a student can do, that's not gonna cut it. If she wants to get out of her debt, she needs to do things that may be a bit underhanded. And she even admits that she's selfish, that she still wants to buy nice clothes and eat expensive food. And so she's aware that this is the sin she's committing. But she still stands by it. I really respect that out of her. That's very impressive.
It's hard to give any other answer than honestly, given the fact that she got the focus in this volume and the rest of heroines just didn't get enough attention to even be on the podium, honestly. I mean, the best Rin got is a scene in which she admits that she sees potential in the protagonist if only he stopped giving limits to himself. Like, okay, that is giving some depth to Rin. Okay, fair enough. I think the best scene of Hina's has to be the one in which she confronts Rin by saying, I will not allow you to back out.
Ooh,
That's the confrontation I loved with Hina. She literally looks Rin into the eye and say, I understand you never cared about safety of Ikki. I will not allow you to back out. You're in it with us. Let's brainstorm the solution for this problem together. That was a good scene.
Oof, yeah.
Huge respect.
Despite that, I kind of had an inkling you were going to pick Meryl, though. You know why?
I mean, lay it on me.
She's the cooter, eh?
Oh my god.
I mean, she's super cold and standoffish, and then she shows up to kick ass, save the day. Oh, come on. I just knew it's like, oh, MR is gonna like her.
You cannot expose me like that. What the fuck will I tell then the viewers and here on this episode when it comes her route? Like, what the, now I have to say it. Like, that's
it's coming
already.
You know it's coming.
Why you had to expose me like that? God damn it.
Well, that's something to look forward to in future Criminal Borders.
Yeah. True.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
speaking of looking forward to future Criminal Borders, I gotta say, when it comes to VNs, and by the way, I approach this Criminal Border understanding that this is an episodic VNs, not many threads will be concluded, and some of the threads of the story won't even be started, as if not to making too many cliffhangers. I understand that completely. I understand. But I really like, in some of the VNs I really enjoyed, when there is a moment in which protagonists become resolute enough that declare a war, because basically that's how this VN is finishing, on protagonist internally declaring war, of taking control of the situation that he got involved in. And on the flip side, something that protagonist does not see is how Yakuza steps up. Like, okay, hopefully that's another good hook. Please don't disappoint me with the second volume, please. I beg of you.
Yeah,
Because
First Offence.
I really enjoyed that end, the way it ended.
Yes, agreed. First Offence had a great hook, and it had a great cliffhanger, or enticement for next time. Everything in between got a little murky. But
And
you're right.
you know what?
You're right. Beginning and the
This
end.
is exactly, yeah. And this is another comparison I want to make with 999, because 999 had a solid start, an interesting murder.
I'm sorry, the 9-9 series, right? Or 9 hours.
Yeah, okay, a 1-9 too many. Sorry, the 9-9 series. Sorry. Okay, I got confused because of Luna. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Luna, best girl.
Yeah, and that was the mystery that has a good hook, an interesting murder mystery intrigue, kinda slow burner given the fact that it started with the first volume, but had an amazing cliffhanger ending that wanted you to immediately jump to the second one to see what happened. So very similar to this, and hopefully it picks up the pace from the second volume.
I'll be looking forward to it.
Yep, me too.
Awesome. Thank you all, everyone, for listening in. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're also looking forward to us reading more of the Criminal Border series, because that will be coming soon.
Yeah, exactly. I want to thank all our listeners for this book club and this episode. Please comment in the comments what you thought about this VN. And for those who don't enjoy the book club and or this title, see you in a month, I guess, because holy hell, we'll be posting this.
No, everyone loves it. It's great.
Exactly. VNture out.
VNture out.